This is macOS Ken.
Taking a walk through tariff pricing, Apple updates all of the operating systems, and now I want to see a race car movie. It is Tuesday, the 13th of May, 2025. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from macOS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Insta360's new X5. Get an invisible selfie stick when you buy an X5 standard bundle at store.insta360.com with code macOSCAN. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSCan. Can we just talk? I'm going to try to feel my way through some things here, and I would like for you to come along with me. There was a kind of ridiculous story in the Wall Street Journal on Monday. It came under the headline, Apple considers raising iPhone prices without blaming tariffs. All right, we know that tariffs are going to raise prices. Okay, I guess I shouldn't say that. It is accepted as fact by most that tariffs are going to raise prices. Not talking about iPhones. I'm talking about everything. Even the president, who ran on lowering prices on day one, has said maybe your kid will have fewer dolls come Christmas, and maybe those dolls will cost more. Higher prices are kind of a given. And while even the president will sometimes admit that, the White House and the businesses on which it leans want to hide the fact. Did I say fact? I meant probability. The journal piece I mentioned lays out something that happened last month between the administration and Amazon. According to that, when a news report in April said Amazon might show the impact of tariffs to its shoppers, the White House called it a hostile act, and Amazon quickly said the idea was never approved and is not going to happen. It is a hostile act to say why prices are higher? The journal included the Amazon anecdote to illustrate why Apple might want to hide the reason iPhone prices are going up, assuming iPhone prices are going up. Folks familiar with the matter indicate that the company is determined to avoid any scenario in which it appears to attribute price increases to U.S. tariffs on goods from China, where most Apple devices are assembled. This is lunacy. I am not saying the tariffs are lunacy. That's debatable. Feels like the administration is going about it kind of recklessly, but let's just leave that part aside. The lunacy is trying to hide why prices might go up. Is there a reason this needs to happen in the administration's estimation? Okay, message, tell your story, get people on board with what you're trying to do. Because now you've got one of the most valuable companies on the planet, maybe one of the most powerful, though that's starting to feel, well, Cupertino has always been said to be in a valley, but it's feeling further and further from high ground in terms of principles. Anyway, you got one of the most valuable companies on the planet, Apple, and one of the biggest retailers on the planet, Amazon, possibly/probably raising their prices, then what, shrugging their shoulders when people ask why? That's lunacy. Now, there are actually ways that Apple can do this, raise prices without putting the blame on anyone or anything other than innovation. I can't remember who said it, but I know we talked here over the past month or two about the possibility of Apple's eliminating the lowest tier of iPhone storage offerings. People are used to paying $100 more for more storage, even though it doesn't cost Apple $100 more per step. I think they actually did this relatively recently, dropped the 64 gigabyte tier maybe. They didn't raise the price of iPhone, and yet they did make it more expensive to get into, increasing the average selling price and profit margin. So that's one way Apple can do this. Of course, there's increased iPhone production in India, an idea covered in the journal piece. Then again, that's less about hiding higher prices than trying to avoid raising them. Separately, there is stuff they could do with the phones themselves to justify raising the cost, features they could add in. There's talk of an ultra-thin iPhone later this year. There's talk of foldables, though I don't think those are expected until next year at the earliest. The point is they could add features, raise prices, and imply that the added features justify the increase. People are still gonna know, though, aren't they? I mean, Apple has added features to iPhone for the past few years without increasing the cost to the consumer. Back to where we began, if tariffs that raise consumer prices are the right way to go, shouldn't the administration be able to say that? Shouldn't the administration be able to make that case? It's easier for Apple and iPhone than it is for Amazon, or Target, or Walmart. Why should Apple and Amazon bend over backwards to hide why they're doing what they probably don't want to do? Lunacy. Anyway, thanks for coming with me on that walk. Shares of Apple were up a lot on Monday, as was most of the rest of the market. The uptick came after the US and China agreed to lower tariffs substantially for the next 90 days, according to a piece from Engadget. Quoting that report, the U.S. will temporarily lower its tariffs on Chinese goods from 145% to 30%, 10% plus a 20% fentanyl-related levy. China, meanwhile, will cut its tariff on American imports from 125% to 10%. It's not clear exactly how that will affect prices of electronic goods coming into America from China, like smartphones, computers, cameras, and drones. Still, investors expressed relief over the temporary relief in the form of investing. Well, in the form of buying stocks anyway. Ticker symbol AAPL ended the day up 12.5, finishing at 210.79. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, Insta360, and their new 360-degree camera, X5. Have you seen the movie The Aviator? Martin Scorsese directed, stars Leonardo DiCaprio. Highly recommended. In it, Howard Hughes is trying to shoot airborne warfare. Bunch of actual planes zipping around, buzzing and shooting at each other. To get all of that action at once, he used 27 cameras. 27! The X5 will not replace 27 cameras, but it will give you several views in one shot. It's 360-degree video. Hit record, find your focus, and choose the best angles later with reframing tools in the Insta360 app. Losing the light? Not a big deal. X5 takes 360-degree night shooting to a new level with impressive detail and clarity. All of that and over 3 hours of battery life. If your shot's there, X5 can get it. Head to store.insta360.com to see what they have and use code macOS10 for a free 45-inch invisible selfie stick with your X5 standard bundle purchase. The pull disappears from 360-degree footage, leaving people to wonder how you get the shots you got. It's a $24.99 value, but it is free for the first 30 people who go to store.insta360.com and buy an X5 standard bundle with code macOS10. Shoot every angle at once. Get your free invisible selfie stick when you buy an X5 standard bundle with code macOS10 at store.insta360.com. Apple's next round of software updates is out. Well, I guess the next one isn't, but the one we were expecting is. Mac Rumors ran several pieces Monday announcing the arrival of iOS and iPadOS 18.5, macOS 15.5, watchOS 11.5, tvOS 18.5, and visionOS 2.5. Approaching WWDC and the next versions of Apple's operating systems, not a lot of big features in this week's releases. For the iOS and iPadOS updates, Apple's release notes highlight the new Pride Harmony wallpaper teased last week, screen time passcode notification for parents, Buy with iPhone landing in the Apple TV app on third-party devices, and support for carrier-provided satellite features for the whole of the iPhone 13 line. There are also bug fixes and security improvements, including one for the history books. Yet another piece from Mac Rumors says the iOS update brings the first ever security update for Apple's C1 modem. According to the report, Apple says that it addressed a baseband security flaw in the C1 modem in iPhone 16e that could allow an attacker in a privileged network position to intercept network traffic. Bad guys don't seem to have found that before Apple did, or if they did, Apple doesn't know about it. None of the vulnerabilities fixed Monday were known to have been actively exploited according to Mac Rumors, though the site does say, still a good idea to update right away. What's new in macOS Sequoia 15.5? None ya. Mac Rumors has Apple's release note saying this update includes enhancements, bug fixes, and security updates for your Mac. Parents now receive a notification when the screen time passcode is used on a child's device. Release notes for my Mac said even less than that, but whatever. There are security updates as well, so have at. There's slightly more in store for watchOS 11.5. Release notes for that proclaim the arrival of the Pride Harmony watch face, the availability of Buy with Apple Watch in the Apple TV app on third-party devices, and a fix for a thing where your iPhone might not alert you when your watch is fully charged. Also, security updates. And now, back to nothing. Aside from security fixes, that is all Apple has said so far about tvOS 18.5. Nothing. While Mac Rumors says Apple shares full release notes for tvOS in its tvOS support document, the most recent update as of this writing is for tvOS 18.4.1. Software for HomePod and HomePod Mini also got updated on Monday. Makes sense, since software for those is a modified version of tvOS. Finally, for an OS you can wear on your head, Apple says the visionOS 2.5 release includes improvements and bug fixes, including a new Vision tab in the Apple TV app to easily discover and watch Apple immersive video and 3D movies, available on Apple Vision Pro. Also, security fixes. Don't want anybody snow crashing. We'll finish the day with a couple of notes from TV land. First, the angriest man in any kitchen is bringing a show to Apple TV+. The Cupertino streamer issued a press release Monday announcing the 8-episode documentary series Knife Edge: Chasing Michelin Stars, executive produced by Gordon Ramsay. According to the release, the Michelin Star is the most prestigious and elusive culinary award in the world, recognizing the finest ingredients cooked to the highest possible standards. This show follows the fates of elite chefs at some of the world's most unique and celebrated restaurants to determine if they will win, maintain, or lose that precious star. Ramsay will not be on the show. The job goes to food expert and presenter Jesse Burgess. Filmed in several locations around the world, no word in the release on when the show will premiere. And finally today, I am happy to say that Apple has finally done it. They have at long last made me want to see the movie F1. Produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, directed by Joseph Kosinski, starring Brad Pitt, Damson Idris, Javier Bardem, and a host of others, every trailer so far has been pulse-pounding, and yet every trailer left me wondering why I would want to see that movie. Fast cars don't do it for me. I was able to see every movie for free when Days of Thunder came out, and I still didn't sit through it. I know NASCAR and F1 are nothing like the same thing, but no. Anyway, Engadget ran a piece Monday saying that there was a new trailer out for F1. There was, there is, and now I want to see a race car movie on a big screen with really loud sound. Latest trailer's up now on YouTube. F1 roars onto the big screen on Wednesday, the 25th of June, except for here in the States. In the US, the movie opens on Friday, the 27th of June. macOS Can, brought to you by me, and sponsored by Insta360's new X5. Get an invisible selfie stick when you buy an X5 standard bundle at store.insta360.com with code macOScan. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOScan. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can find me on Mastodon, macOScan at mastodon.social. You can also send me an email, info@macoscan.com. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.